Hey ladies, it's me again. I told you I'm going to be vlogging, so I'm not going to make this that long because I'm trying to answer some of y'all questions. Okay, you reap what you sow. Okay, a lot of you ladies have been saying, Mona, why don't you pop up at your in-laws' house, or why don't you pop up at his job and things like that? And I'm going to answer that in a moment. When I popped up over my in-laws' house, he was not there. He was able to pack his clothes and go somewhere. I don't know where he went to. That's what my in-law said. And I honestly believe that, from what I've been reading, when you're dealing with that he needs to come home to me. He needs to pick up the phone. He needs to come home to me, because I feel like no matter how many texts I send him, how many emails are saying, baby, I love you, come home, we have a baby, we can do, I mean, even even myself apologizing for things I didn't even do wrong, just to show him, baby, I love you. Sometimes that can push a person away. So I feel like I know he loves me. He always said he loved me, and just like that, he switched. So the only thing I can do is wait for him to come home to me, because I have tried to pursue him in text messages, begging, told him, babe, I need you, we need you, boo, what's going on? I love you. Like, I can't, I can't force myself on anyone, and if they truly, honestly love me, they will come back. I popped up over at my in-laws' house and he wasn't there. Far as the job situation, and I'm going to tell you guys this. Well, I couldn't understand it because his behavior and everything. I kind of felt like, how was he still able to work? And everybody kept telling me, you know, uh, you're still able to function and do certain things like drive and stuff like that. But I just felt like his personality is so left wing right now, that how is he able to be around people and still work like this? Because this is not his behavior with me or anything like that. So how is he able to do these things? So I would call up to the job, and I remember calling one Saturday, and when I called, one of the girls, I'm just going to name her Kelly. She said that, he wasn't there. Matter of fact, I called when the car had broke down, and she was like, oh, he's not in. And this was before like 10 o'clock in the morning. I had to be to a funeral. Car broke down, y'all. It was raining. And she said he's not in. And when I called back to say what time is he going to be in, she said he left at 8:30. And I'm like, the place don't open until 10. How was it that he left? So I felt like she was really covering up for him. There was one time before then, and this is like the third day when he left, when he picked up the phone and said, this is Music Spectrum. And I was like, babe, I love you. And he just was like, call you back, click. It's like, y'all got to understand this. I am the type of person when I can admit when I am wrong. Okay, I can truly, honestly admit when I'm wrong. I have done nothing for my husband to treat me as an outcast, other than calling my in-laws when he called the police on me. That was the worst mistake. I think once my in-laws got involved, I think he likes to hold a certain standard in front of his parents. And when I was questioning them about his behavior, all of a sudden you would think they were trying to help out, but usually they was like, oh, he did this, oh, she did that. And it kind of drove us, it kind of divided us apart, to the point he started doing things like, mom, dad, Mona's doing this, like, and I'm like, boo. At the end of the day, I'm like, man, forget them. Let's go back to a team again. You can be Batman, I'm Robin. Like, forget my in-laws. I'm not here to impress them. It's you. You're my husband. And I thought that, that they would at least tell me, because when I was asking them about his behavior, they just, looked down, and they could have said, Mona, Matthew's dealing with this, or we're dealing with that, but they didn't even say that. And so, anyway, let me get back to the story about the reap what you sow. So, Anyway, when I had called the job, the girl Kelly would be like, "Oh, he just left." And I would ask, "Is he there?" Well, I called back. I called again one time at his job, and I said, "Is he there?" She said, "He is, but he's in a class." And I'm like, "Okay." I didn't want to bother anything or whatever. Then when he showed up that night, not himself, I had gotten my cousin to call up there while I was on the phone, and um, she said that the girl Kelly said that he was there again, and I said that's crazy. How can he be working the way he is? So I was just like, whatever. Then something told me I called again, and this time when I called, I said, let me speak to Mrs. Brenda. I'm just giving y'all, they're not the real names because I don't want to say the real names, but I said, let me speak to Mrs. Brenda. That's the owner of the company. And Kelly was like, well, she's busy right now. And I said, okay, if you could take down my number and have her to give me a call. And I said, Kelly, is Matt still working? And she was like, no. That's what I've been calling about as his wife. I was concerned to make sure that, he didn't need to be working around people, especially in his state and things like that. I just didn't feel comfortable with him, just, everything that he was going through. So I said, that's what I was calling for. That's what I wanted to know. Like, I wanted to say, you sitting up here trying to cover up. I'm his wife. So, anywho, I received a message, right? And I'm going to read this message to you guys, okay? Because I think 11 o'clock that night, his old supervisor had called me, had texted me, and I'm going to tell you what she said. Hold on, y'all, sorry. And this was just so crazy. She said, it's Brenda. I don't know why you want to talk to me about what you want to talk to me about. I don't know where Matt is, and he doesn't work for me anymore. And then I said, thank you, Miss Brenda. That's what I wanted to know. I've been worried about Matt, and I was not sure if he was still working. When I would call the job, Kelly would tell me he was working. I did not feel that he should be working right now. My husband is suffering from a breakdown. Thank you so very much. He really enjoyed working for you. And this is what she says. He was still teaching, but he has not worked on the administrative side for some time. I hope if you really care about him, that you are praying about how you can be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. I am well aware that you have called him at work and yelled at him more than once on my time. We all reap what we sow. Let me read that one more time. I know y'all like, huh? Let me read that one more time. I hope if you really care about him, that you are praying about how you can be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I am well aware that you have called him at work and yelled at him more than once on my time. We all reap what we sow. And I was like, so let me tell you what my response was. Thank you, Mrs. Brenda, and you be blessed. And she says, you too, and Symphony. Okay. First of all, I'm going to tell you how God worked that out. Because first of all, for a woman to come to another woman about her husband, she don't know anything, okay? And I figure he must have said some bad words or about me or whatever. But I will say this, though, that she's absolutely right. We all reap what we sow. But what she don't understand is that, well, before I go into all of that, when my husband first had a breakdown when we were at church, when I ended up coming home and having those contractions, there was a lady from our Bible study group that had called, and she called that day. I thought maybe she witnessed what was going on in church, and she was just like, she was like, is there anything I could do? I said, please pray for me and my husband. I was crying. I was having contractions and crying, and she prayed. Even after the hospital, she called and she prayed, and bottom line, she's been like a spiritual aunt. She'll call and see how everything's going, and she always prays. Well, when I got this text message back, I was telling her about it, and she is in this lady that I said is like a spiritual aunt. She has been in our Bible study group and she has witnessed me say I would ask everybody for prayers to pray over this woman's business. Yes, my husband's supervisor. I would ask them if they could please pray over the business, that they will have so many people come in there, and that they can't even handle, just so it can basically be a benefit for my husband, so he wouldn't have to worry about his hours being short or anything. So this woman, for her to say, we all reap what we sow, you know what? I hope I reap what I sow. Because if I do, then I got a heck of a harvest coming in. I prayed over my husband before he went to work. I didn't want to hear no bad news. If anybody at the job messing with him, I'm like, baby, let's pray about this. Like, if he's having a good day at work, then I'm having a good day. My whole thing is I wanted my husband to be comfortable. Now, when I called his job recently, I actually had to Google it because I didn't even know the number to his job. My husband had been working for her, I think, almost 3 years or 2.5 years, 3 years. And out of that whole time, you're telling me from 2 conversations that I had with my husband over the phone about, I don't know if we were arguing or debating, whatever it was. I don't even know what it was even about. So you paint this picture of me and then have a nerve to say you reap what you sow and you be blessed too, you and Symphony. So did you think that that was nice to say that? I guess you meant it for evil. But like I said, with people, the Bible says what people do for evil, God will take it and do for good. Because you don't even understand, like, I love my husband. I love him so much. She saw me making programs for the little Christian fun thing that he had going on, and she showed up at the hospital when my husband looked like he was whatever, and he left when she showed up with the flowers and stuff. But I always, how can I say, my husband will always say how she got on him. And I would just pray that, that his supervisor would show him favor and things like that. And even praying for her position too. And it was times when she would call him on the day off and he'd be like, I don't want to answer. And I'm like, boo, just answer back so she can not feel a certain way. Because the minute he didn't respond, and she would go on him. And this is my husband. So for her to say that you reap what you sow, I was just like, wow. Then I thought, you're absolutely right. And I'm going to have a heck of a harvest. I'm going to have a huge inventory because I honestly believe, nobody's perfect. But my husband, please, when he went out, boo, have a blessed day. When he came home, baby, how was your day? There's nothing that I wouldn't do for my husband. And she has no idea. But, you know what? I'm hoping I do reap what I sow. I really do, because I love my husband very much. So that's the reason why, ladies, that I had not gone up to my husband's job, because he's no longer working there. I don't know what happened, if there was an incident. I'm sure she probably saw some certain things. And that's why I wanted to kind of cushion it by saying that he's suffering from a breakdown. And she knows too, I had just given birth to our daughter. So for her to say, you've called twice on my watch, like, who are you? That's my husband. I could call at any given time I want. But I never called his job. I called his phone. And what's that all about? And when I was speaking to the lady from the group, like I said, like my spiritual aunt, she was like, he must have said something. I don't know. I have no idea. And it was just like, that came out of nowhere. When I'm concerned about my husband, you're laughing. So, yeah. So, anywho, that's the reason why I don't need to show up at his job, because right now he's not working there anymore. And I know he really loved that job. He really did. And far as my popping up at my in-laws and stuff like that, I honestly believe that it has to be him to come back home. And so I'm praying that when he does come back home, he'll have a sound mind, or even reach out to call me, because he's not even doing that.